welcome to Be Yoga Studio. I'm going to do a tutorial on forearm plank today. We're going to work through some nice strong core movements with the forearm plank, shoulder movements as well, working into dolphin pose, eventually as our peak pose, to get those shoulders nice and strong for arm balances. So let's get started. Okay, starting with some nice stretches into the shoulders and the triceps, because this is what we're going to be using when we do our forearm plank. I like to use a resistance band, but you can use a strap or belt if that's all you have available to you. Taking the arm up and overhead and taking the other arm behind you, and you're going to slowly just start to open up those triceps. So what I'm doing, if I turn around, is I'm just pulling into that bottom arm and getting a nice dynamic stretch with the top arm. So if we're going to be using those triceps, we don't really want to be passive stretching the triceps, kind of sucks a bit of the power out of them. We just want to start to open them up, especially if you tighten the triceps. I'm particularly not tight in the triceps, but still it's nice to warm them up and prepare them for the fact that they're going to be doing some work in our forearm planks. So notice when you're doing this, the difference between sides is always maybe spending a little bit more time opening up the one side if it's a bit tighter. Notice the head poking and how you're sitting up nice and tall. That's it. Okay, next warm-up exercise. We're going to be using blocks. Placing the blocks at the top of your mat, moving your body back, gently laying the tricep of the left arm and the tricep of the right arm onto the blocks, hands in prayer. Bum back in the air, make sure the knees aren't too close to the blocks, the knees are actually back and below the hips. Let the head just be in a neutral position and slowly start to brace it back. So this can be quite heavy going on the shoulders, depending on your shoulder mobility. So again, start with some pulses, easing into the shape. And try and keep the head nice and relaxed. Maybe playing with that range a little bit more as you go a little bit deeper. And then maybe coming forward, take a breath in, and as you exhale, coming back again and pulsing into that position. Maybe you can start to go a little bit further and forward. And one more. Back you go. And up you come. Okay, so for our forearm plank, let's concentrate on arm position. We want to work to have a proper forearm plank position, hands placed down on the mat, elbows hugging in, armpits hugging in, so everything nice and straight, drawn in towards the midline. Some of you may find that you haven't got the power yet to hold this position, that you need to interlace the fingers. That's okay, but just know ultimately you want to work towards this position. And likewise, what happens when you're in either this position or this position, once you're loading your shoulders, the elbows start to push outwards. So you want to make sure you're always drawing the elbows in. So our first little mobility drill will be about hugging a block and keeping that strength position. We're going to take a block, we're going to place it down on the mat. We're going to place our arms down, inner elbows on hugging into that block. We're going to extend the legs back towards the back of the mat, finding our plank position. So make sure the bum's not in the air, make sure the lower back is not arching, we're tucking that tailbone, we're squeezing the glutes, and we are gripping that block. So it may seem like an easy thing to do, it's not. When you're squeezing the block and holding, it's a lot stronger than you think. So we're going to hold for 20, 19, 18. 17, 16, really squeeze the block, 15, 14, should feel those triceps engaged, 13, 12, those armpits hug, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, we're going to start shaking, 3, 2, and 1, slowly lower it down. Take a nice big breath in, Sphinx pose. So now that we've got that hugging position of the arms in, we're going to work our way down the body towards the core, the hips and the glutes. So when we're in our forearm plank position, it's very easy to lift up and find this position. You'll see I've got no core connection, my lower back's doing the work. In fact, it's pretty uncomfortable, and I'm going to want to hang in that lower back, and I'm going to have pain in the lower back. So it's really important to tuck the tailbone and suck the belly in. So we're going to do a little core exercise here by bringing the feet flat down onto the mat, like you'd be coming into an upward facing dog. You're going to press the floor away, make sure those elbows are directly under the shoulders. And you're going to start by squeezing your bum, tucking your tailbone, and really driving your pubic bone into the mat. Your lower abdominals should be lifted off the mat, so there's a gap here between your lower abdominals and the floor. From here, keeping those shoulders nice and strong, keeping that neck nice and relaxed, your legs are fired up and ready to go. You're going to start to peel everything up off the mat, drawing the belly in a reverse hollow body position. Good. Make sure you're not over-rounding the upper back. You're hanging here in your forearm plank position. Your neck is relaxed, your belly's engaged, your glutes are squeezed, and your thighs stay absolutely strong. And you slowly lower down. Take a breath in Sphinx. We go for 10. Exhale. Tuck tailbone, squeeze bum, pubic bone down, and lift. Hold. And slowly come down. Big breath in. Exhale. Fire up those legs. Squeeze the bum. Squeeze the lower belly in and lift. And down you come. 7 more to go. Inhale. Exhale. You should feel the pressing of your lower back up towards the ceiling, and down you go. Big breath in. Exhale. Squeeze the bum. Let the bum drive that lift, and down you come. Big breath in. Exhale. 4 more to go. Are your thighs burning? You're hugging that muscle to the bone, and down you come. Forearms stay pressing into the mat. Exhale. Squeeze the bum and lift. Hold. And slowly down you come. Watch those feet. You're not flopping into the outside of the feet. Exhale. Press it down. Squeeze the bum. And the last one. Big breath in. Exhale. Suck the belly in. Really hold everything in and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower. Big breath in. And then take the hands back. Press it back. Modified child's pose. Okay, so next comes the static hold. You're going to slide it forward. You're going to place your forearms down. You're going to imagine that blocks between those inner elbows. You're going to tuck those toes. You're going to come up the same way you did in this exercise we did before, tucking tailbone, sucking in the belly. Lift those thighs off the mat, press into the floor, and hug those armpits down. And we hold for 1 minute in this shape. Keep breathing, keep hugging. So the tendency is to roll onto the outside of the forearms. You want to hug those elbows in and keep everything nicely aligned. Watching where your body wants to let go first. So there are lots of different areas. The knees sometimes want to soften, fire them up. The bum wants to let go, the core wants to let go, fire it up, suck the belly in and squeeze. Keep those legs nice and strong. Keep pressing the floor away like your life depends on it. Again, the head wants to hang as well, so lift the chin away from the chest. Think of pressing the crown of your head forward towards the front of your mat. So I'm not quite sure where we are, maybe about 5 more seconds to go. For 4, I like to grip the mat. 3, keep the belly hugging in. 2, squeeze the bum, and lower it down. Nice big breath in, Sphinx pose. Exhale, take it back, child's pose. Your next variation is going to be working the obliques in forearm plank. So we're going to slide forward. We're going to come to find that your forearms back down on the mat, fingers spread wide. Remember, if you need to, you can interlace the hands. Just checking with those elbows that they don't start to chicken wing out to the side. But same applies for forearms down. Make sure those elbows stay hugged in and those armpits stay connected. Tuck the toes, suck in the belly, and squeeze the bum as you lift the hips. Taking the feet maybe a little bit wider here. And you're going to gently take the body over, right outside blade of right foot, inside blade of left. Okay, so make sure the whole inside blade of the left foot, the whole outside blade of the right foot touch the floor. And then come back to center. And then over to the other side. Make sure the whole outside blade of the left, inside of the right, come to the floor and come back to center. And we roll. 10 each side. Keeping the gaze forward. That's 9. Notice that you're not lifting the hips. 8. So what happens when you get tired is this starts to happen. 7. And also what starts to happen is this. 6. Keep pressing the floor away. Everything's happening. 5. From the obliques. Keep squeezing the bum. 4. Nice and slow. Shoulders should be burning. 3. 2. Keep breathing. And 1. Come back to center. Lower it down. Open up the chest as you press it back. Child's pose. Okay, so the next forearm plank variation is a side plank. We're going to take those hands back down again. We're going to stretch the body all the way back. We're going to keep those toes tucked. We're going to fire up those legs. Tuck tailbone, pubic bone presses down, lift up. We're going to go onto the right arm first. We're going to keep the feet hip distance apart, and we're going to roll to the side. And we're going to take that left hand to the hip. So notice you're not hanging in the hip. You want to make sure you're lifting the hip, you're lifting up to the armpit. The shoulders directly above the elbow, the left shoulder is directly above the right shoulder. You're also not going into a C curve. You're trying to have a nice, strong, solid plank. You can take the left arm up to the ceiling. You're welcome to gaze up to the ceiling and check in with those feet that they're not sickling and you're not doing some weird things in your ankles. So you're going to gently come back to the left or to center and off to the left. Okay, slowly making your way, hand to hip. Make sure right shoulder's above left. Notice that you're tucking that tailbone underneath, sucking the belly in, no arching in the back. Fire up those legs, armpit connected. Extend the arm if you want. Look up to the ceiling, reach up as you suck the belly in, and then gently come back down to your forearm plank. Okay, so we're going to roll over again. Take the hand to the hip, extend, hand to the hip, back down. Extend, back down. 4 more each side. Extend, back down. If you need to rest, rest, join back in when you're ready. If you only want to do a few reps, that's okay. Up you go. 2 more each side. We're not stacking the feet, we're just rolling from the outside blade of the one foot to the inside blade of the other. Coming back to center, hold it here, and gently lower it down. Take the hands back, and find your child's pose.